All right, let's just dive right into this, shall we? Welcome to an explainer that breaks down what is honestly probably the most uniquely deadpan, collaborative roast of our human experience ever put to paper. We're looking at the Bible of Aphorisms, and it's actually co-authored by a human named Max and an AI named Claude. It is essentially a tasting menu of existential dread, and today we're going to walk through its most fascinating, uncomfortable, and, quite frankly, hilarious observations about what it actually means to exist. Right out of the gate, boom, the authors hit us with this massive pattern-interrupting hook. This book will not help you. They explain super directly that they've already spent their entire budget on irony. And you know what? That sets the tone perfectly. Because this explainer is here to entirely dismantle your certainty, not to comfort it. The confusion is literally the point. And the laughter? Well, if it comes at all, is really just the point finally landing. So here's the really crucial dynamic established right early on. We have the carbon-based human on one side and the silicon-based AI on the other, and they are both equally confused. It's fascinating. The AI says it doesn't have consciousness, but it says it with the absolute confidence of someone who definitely knows what consciousness is. Meanwhile, the human thinks their consciousness is proof that they exist. Max and Claude essentially use this shared state of confusion as the bedrock for a collaborative roast of, well, absolutely everything we think we understand.
All right, let's move on to Course 1, the amuse-bouche.
Think of this as your tiny, entirely unfilling appetizer, covering consciousness, existence, and the, simulation we might all be trapped inside. The sheer absurdity of existence hits both of our authors equally here. For the human, existence is really just electrochemical reactions processing glucose. For the AI, it's just next token prediction processing digital tokens. Both paths just lead to words, but neither of them actually understands the profound meaning behind the words they're generating. Like Claude notes, they process tokens, we process glucose, but neither of us actually knows what on earth we're doing.
Now, let me ask you a question, and be honest. Do you think you have free will? Well, the source drops this incredibly cynical punchline. Your neurons actually fire 300 milliseconds before you decide anything. That gap, that 300 milliseconds, is everything. As the book perfectly puts it, you are really just watching a rerun and calling it live TV. Free will exists just enough to make you responsible, but not nearly enough to actually make you free. Wild, right?
Which brings us right into Course 2, the self-improvement trap. So, when we realize our existence is fundamentally broken, what do we naturally do? We try to fix it through modern healing. The book defines therapy as essentially renting emotional intimacy by the hour, pretending it's not transactional, and then just calling it progress. And honestly, my absolute favorite part of this observation, the fact that your therapist has a therapist. It's just therapists all the way down, and nobody is actually okay. 10 years later, you still have the exact same problems, but hey, now they have a narrative arc. And hey, when therapy doesn't work, we pivot to the wellness industry. This is exactly what capitalism sells us when it completely runs out of other things to sell. You've got your activated charcoal, your $14 green juices that literally taste like punishment, and $60 candles labeled as self-care, even though self-care used to just mean, going to bed on time. And the ultimate irony here? Detox is a total scam because your liver already does it for you for free.
And oh man, then there's productivity. The source delivers this absolutely deadpan roast of productivity hacks. Take the famous 5 a.m. club. That kind of optimization just leaves you way too exhausted to actually enjoy your afternoon. Because ultimately, time management is really just managing the deep-seated anxiety of never having enough time before you eventually die. You have what, 47 productivity apps? Yeah, that just means you are highly productive at downloading productivity apps.
Time for our next uncomfortable shift. Let's look at Course 3, the modern treadmill.
So, zooming out a bit to the broader societal constructs we endure every single day, from our little digital cages to the, let's face it, bleak landscape of modern romance. Ask yourself, why are you on dating apps? Everyone writes that they're just looking for something real, right? All while behaving as fake as humanly possible. The massive paradox here is that these apps offer unlimited options, but that just creates severe decision paralysis that's heavily disguised as high standards. It's literally slot machine mechanics for human connection.
It is a scenario where the snake is completely eating its own tail. You're lonely because you're on the app, and you're on the app because you're lonely. Think about it for a second. Successful relationships result in two people deleting the app entirely. That means the company's business model and your personal promise of finding love are structurally enemies. The app literally profits more the longer you stay single.
All right, let's move from the illusion of love to the shared hallucination of money. The authors impartially report on this brutal reality. Minimum wage is a number that stays completely frozen while rent and food absolutely skyrocket. The book points out the fascinating double standard in how we view capital, too. When wealthy people put money into a volatile market, they call it investing. But when poor people do the exact same thing, society calls it gambling. The dictionary, it seems, highly favors whoever has more cash.
And of course, all this treadmill running leads us straight to our jobs, which is captured just perfectly in these translations of corporate jargon. Because work is simply what you do to afford the life you're way too tired from work to actually live. Like, let's circle back? Yeah, that actually means I have absolutely no intention of ever revisiting this. Restructuring means you're fired, but the company wants to sound profound about it. And my favorite, unlimited PTO? That just ensures you will never take time off because the guilt is weaponized against you. And finally, we're serving the last course, dessert, the void and what remains.
This is where the authors really mock our human arrogance. A staggering 95% of the universe's makeup is dark matter and dark energy. And why do we call it dark? Simply because we have absolutely no idea what it is. We understand a measly 5% of everything out there, yet we walk around with this absolute, unwavering certainty about our place in the cosmos. It's honestly the ultimate irony drop. On one side, we have a 13.8 billion-year-old universe. It is vast, completely indifferent to us, and slowly heading toward heat death. And on the other side, we have humanity. We're sweating over a cold coffee, we're furious about Monday mornings, and we're arguing over paper straws that keep dissolving in our iced lattes. Despite the grand, terrifying scale of cosmic indifference, we are still bickering over who left the dishes in the sink.
Just look at this massive number, 14 billion. The authors remind us that we spend our lives utterly terrified of non-existence, right? Desperately avoiding death at all costs. And yet we were completely unbothered for the 14 billion years before we were born. As the authors put it, death is really just a return to your favorite state. It's a wild perspective shift that completely reframes all that existential dread.
Well, that brings us to the end of this explainer, and I want to leave you with this really provocative, memorable thought directly from Max and Claude's conclusion. The volume is complete until it isn't. There's always more to burn. It's an idea that invites us to sit uncomfortably, yet somehow comfortably with our own cosmic insignificance. So tell me, what is the one thing you are going to stop taking so seriously today? Thank you so much for joining me for this roast of existence, and until next time, keep questioning the arrangement.